All right, so new project. I've got to cut my workbench in half. I want to build a skinnier bench and give this beautiful vise, which was restored by a mate, a new home. So I've just got to figure out how I'm going to mount it. I got all this crappy old pine that I picked off the back of Bunnings. I'm going to use that to make the frame. So I haven't really figured it out yet, so just going to make it up as I go, as per usual. I've had this chunky beam laying around my shed for ages, so this is the perfect job for it. I'm going to chop it up, measure it up to fit the vise in, so it basically got that undermount vise. So I'll take it over the table saw. I'll cut a couple of grooves out, and then it'll be good to go for the mounting process later down the track. And this is a shop project, so I've also got a heap of this rectangular profile pine, which I picked up from the back dock of Bunnings. So what I'm going to do is rip it all down, or resaw it all down, and make some nice square profile. So then I can start my joinery process. So I'm going to be doing a heap of half laps. I'm going to use the table saw. I'm going to introduce the bandsaw. So this will be my project when I first use the bandsaw. I'm definitely learning as I go. This is literally my first cuts ever, so I'm just trying a little bit of freehand initially to see how that works. Wasn't awesome. Anyway, so I tuned up the bandsaw as well because I didn't even know how to do that. And then I've started using the fence to cut out the rest of the joinery. So this is super fast, and I think it's going to be my go-to way now for cutting any sort of half laps. Now I'm a fast learner, so I'm getting straight into doing these joints with a stop block. Now I did see this on a video once before, and it is definitely the way to go, just to get that repeatable cut and everything nice and neat. Alrighty, what else are we doing here? Okay, half lap, so I'm going to use the table saw to remove a fair bit of this material to then line up with those half laps I chopped up on the bandsaw. Rightio, so bench, I've just clamped it all together just so you can see what I've got going on. A lot of these joints, they're not awesome. Like, look at this one. Okay, that was where I did a bit of a freehand. You'll also notice that timber is really twisted. Again, shop project, not too concerned. And I'm also going to cover all of this stuff up and pretty it up, and that'll be coming down the track when I do a second video for this little build. I'm now gluing up the two large hoops that will be the main frame for this little bench build. I'll let those sit overnight and I'll come back and glue up the rest tomorrow. Just coming right up. Hot tip. Spoiler. Okie dokie, so it's all very chunky, which I love, but it's and all the half laps very easy to go together. I'm just going to glue, screw, square it all up, check it square at least 1,000 times, which it is, so that's all good. And then we'll move on to making the slab top for this one. Alright, dickhead alert. Watch me glue this piece of wood in perfectly, check it square, drill some holes, get it all good to go, clamp it in, and then wait for it. Right, so previous clip, I just glued this thing in back to front. So these grooves that take the vise. I am rushing a little bit to get these shop projects done. Lucky I caught it, would have been a disaster. But anyway, it's going to be the home for this vise. So that should look pretty cool. Dig the colour? Me too. I'm going to do a slab top, so it is a shop project. I've just rustled up all of this timber, which is mostly palings chopped in half, which are then too thin for particular slabs on other builds. Going to use all those up, and stick it on top of the vise bench. Okay, like a lot of my projects, there's a lot of repeatable cuts. This one, I'm just chopping it down to about 60 centimeters. They're all about the same length. I'll then take it over the table saw and then I'll rip everything to the same width before we head on over to the sorting, the gluing, the clamping, and then the flattening. So if you want to see this process in detail, you can check out my 2.7 meter dining table. It's got a lot of slabs, it's got a lot of gluing, it's got a lot of clamping. But anyway, we've all seen that before, so let's carry on. I do mention this in pretty much all my videos. So for these slabs, I use a really cheap PVA glue. It's only about 25, 30 bucks for 4 litres because I'm not too concerned on the quality. Even though it is good to go, I build the structure in. So yeah, you could probably snap one of these slabs if you gave it a bit of a whack. But for what I'm doing is just fine. And again, build that structure in with the rest of the project. Next step is to take all the slabs and give them 2 square parallel edges. So I'll use the table saw for that. Works a treat. So then it is ready for the final glue up to make one big slab. Okay, so I'm going with the Cuffy's woodwork method of attaching this vise. So I just finished watching most of his workbench builds. There's like 10 videos. Perfect time during this apocalypse to kick back, get some popcorn and watch all of Cuffy's woodwork videos. They are amazingly detailed and he has got the greatest workbench I have ever seen. Anyway, so we're just attaching this with a couple of heavy duty screws, tightening it down. This thing is not going to move. I'm just grabbing the square and the spirit level just to make sure when I glue up I've got a reasonably straight edge. So that only sort of catches me out. If you don't do this, you may end up cutting a slab too small because you didn't have that first edge lined up reasonably well. And here's me giving my new Outfeed table a bit of a run. So as you can see, I like to run these big slabs through the table saw to get them parallel. So I built that Outfeed table and I think that's my last video. So if you want to go and check that out, again, perfect timing because everyone should be staying at home so we can all get through this pretty shit time. Stay safe, take care, stay home. Okay, just 4 quick screws to hold the top on. I am going to come back and do some other stuff later on down the track in another video. Right, dickhead alert. I think we can all see what's about to happen, but this is my little warning to myself. If your mind is not on the job, stop, step away from the power tools and go and do something else. There's a lot of things going on in the world at the moment, and it's easy to be thinking about those things because they are pretty big issues. But if you need to get out and do some stuff in the shed to relax, take your mind off things, just make sure your mind is actually on the job of what you're doing. And this is me running out of linseed oil, which I just wanted to put on to protect the top for now. So I got this tip from James, Fix It Fingers. A little bit of oil-based poly, bit of mineral terps, wipey wipe, and you've got yourself some wipe on poly, and it's heaps cheaper, by the way. Cheers, mate. Hot tip. In part 2 of the build, we are going to pretty all this up and hide all my errors. I did make a few on this one, but it's all going to be capped, and we'll put some timber in the jaws here. But for now, we have a workspace. I can get on with things. Okay, we're basically going to call this part 1 and we're going to call it done for now. So I've just chucked a little bit of linseed and then a little bit of homemade wipe-on poly. That's going to do for now, because I really have to get cracking on these next projects. So the goal of separating my workbench is done. Table saw for me now lives over here, and I've got this other workbench. And what this new setup will allow me to do is I'll throw some steel beams through the middle, and if I have to do any large glue ups for dining tables, etc., I've still got that extended workspace. But plenty more room to move in the shop, and that was pretty much the goal. We will get back to this, we will pretty it up, and there'll be a part 2 later down the track. Thanks for tuning in, always appreciate it, and stay safe out there. You know what I'm saying? This time, everything's going on. All right, take care.